Hello fellow beer makers and hops growers. I want to show you a really super simple, inexpensive way that I've developed for drying hops I thought you might want to see. It starts out with just buying this wire mesh. I think I paid about $7 or $8 for this at a hardware store. This is the 1/4 inch mesh size, which is the right size for being able to allow air to flow through your hops and at the same time not allow the hops to come through. So I basically took this and I folded it and made it into kind of a square cage, an open top cage. It was pretty easy to do. This cage took me maybe 20 minutes to make. We're talking very simple here. I just folded it, made a frame out of it, took some additional wire and just used that to tie it together wherever the seams were. So nothing fancy here. The idea is to make it simple, make it inexpensive, and yet still effective. So now I've got this box I've made, open top box, the hops go into, and you can see I got a lot of room in there, but I've probably got 3 or 4 pounds of damp hops in there that I want to dry out. So the next question is, how do we create a way to quickly dry those safely and in a way we can manage? All I've got here are 4 bricks I found in the yard. Very simple, very inexpensive. I've laid them out and created a space below my cage here, and you'll see now that I want to create the drying system that will be used to help dry those hops out. This is an old, inexpensive fan that we had back from, I think it came from Kmart many years ago, but the nice thing about this fan is it's a big surface area, it's got different speeds, and I'm going to use that on a very slow speed. I want to dry the hops out carefully and slowly. So I've taken this fan basically, laying it on top of the bricks with the airflow going up. So now I've got a way to blow air through that open mesh that has all my hops in it. Now I also want some heat underneath here. Not a high heat, but a gentle heat. Something to help those hops dry out. What I'm using is one of these arc lights that you use for a work light. They get very hot. That heat can be used to our advantage. I don't want to point the light at the hops directly, but I'm going to position that under my brick scaffolding here, if you would, in a way that it's going to heat the bricks below here, add some warmth to it, and as that air blows through the hops, it's going to help dry them out more quickly, which is our objective here, to dry the hops relatively quickly, but not over dry them and not to burn them by any means. So I want a gentle heat that I can control, and this seems to work pretty well for me. Once again, I had this sitting in the garage, so it cost was nothing. So I'm going to place that halogen lamp underneath my brick structure here, and then on top of the brick structure I'm going to lay my fan blowing upward, and on top of that my basket cage with the hops in it. So here's my fan pointing upward. I've got the light underneath it, and I've pointed the light downward instead of upward. I don't want to have that light exposure to my hops. I really want that for heat. If you've got a nice sunny dry climate, you wouldn't need to use the heater at all perhaps. A good sunshiny space, you would have it off as well, but if you want to run overnight, of course, and you want to keep that heat coming, that's a good way to do that. So here it is down below, pointing downward, and I'll put the hops basket on top of it. You'll show here. So here's my whole hops drying mechanism. I've got the heat light below, I've got a fan turned gentle speed up, and I've got the basket above open up like this with my hops in there. The nice thing I've found about this too is it makes it very easy for me to be able to go through, pull out the whatever leaves and other kinds of foreign material are in here. Very easy to do that. I'm also able to just kind of shuffle this to try to help dry out and to rotate the hops as they're drying out. And I found it takes, these are still damp hops here. I picked these yesterday. You want to get them dry just as quickly as you can. These hops here would take, I would say, somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 16 hours to get to the point where they were dry enough the moisture content was low and I wouldn't worry about storing them. And when they're dry from here, then I'm going to put them into freezer bags. There I've got a one of these food bag storage systems that evacuates all the air out of there and then seals it tight in a moisture and oxygen barrier container, and then I put those into the freezer, and they are very well preserved for a good year or more, that I can still use those hops and have very high quality hops that I've grown locally with my own varieties, and a great way to make the beer even more personal of your own there. So here's my hop drying system. You might be able to hear I've got the fan down below. It's blowing a gentle breeze through here that's got the warmth of the sun here, as well as the warmth of my my lights under there. So that is a very effective way to very quickly and safely dry the hops and make sure that all my efforts at growing them isn't lost. So there's your inexpensive, quick, fast, and easy way to make your own hops drying system. I like to put all these hops that have now been dried into a barrier package like this for Food Saver, and I weigh them so I know how many ounces I've got, putting them in bags that are going to be good for batches. So this is about a 5-ounce bag, like that. And the nice thing about these is that you've got the dried hops. They go into the freezer in a vacuum-packed bag, and they will last a good year or more and not lose any of their flavor and the aroma that they've got because they've got this oxygen barrier that really protects them. Here's what the pack looks like after it's been vacuumed and sealed. This does really protect the hops, the flavor, the aroma, color for quite some time in the freezer. And it's really been a great way for me to continue enjoying my homegrown hops for some time after I've done them.